All hail Biafra. This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please do subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Simon Ekpa has raised concern over the gross human rights violations and abuse in Nigeria and have said this as a very strong point against the Nigerian state, citing that the Nigeria ranks 120 out of 140 countries in the 2024 human rights violations and the rule of law, compliance to the rule of law index, that Nigeria fell below the average and falls behind the war-torn Ukraine, the gang-plagued El Salvador, and the military-ruled Niger Republic. This is a very strong point to present against Nigerian government, as Simon Ekpa is well prepared and well informed with the right information to decimate the Nigerian government and to frustrate even Finland, despite the conspiracy alleged by the Finland ambassador to Nigeria, that this is not going to work according to the European laws, that any violation of fundamental human rights and abuses by any government will not be tolerated. And as such, the European countries has no confidence in the justice system of the Nigeria, as their ranking in the human rights and the rule of law compliance is abysmal. It's quite worrisome, and this has given Simon Ekpa a very good advantage to dislodge and frustrate every effort by the Nigerian government and any other, of course, party who might want to subvert the cause of justice. Simon Ekpa will argue his case very clearly as he presents the report, a validated report certified by the World Justice Project, that want to constrain certain governments or regions on the abuses and excesses, abuse of power. This is a very strong point, and with this development, there is no one who can consider Nigerian government to win this case against Simon Ekpa, because he's going to present and publish the report certified and made known or public before the court of law. And with this, his safety, of course, in Nigeria cannot be guaranteed with this level of violations to the human rights and the rule of law. Nigeria is behind the military-ruled Niger Republic than Nigeria, who claims to be a democratic client or a democratic system. It is quite unfortunate, and this indication is something that will be used against the Nigerian government, despite the call by Tinubu and the Chief of Defense Staff. They knew that, of course, the ICC, International Criminal Court, are conducting a prolonged investigations over the alleged massacre of Igbos under Buhari's regime and the continued abuse of fundamental human rights, and against the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. So there is no way the Nigerian government can convince the EU courts to repatriate or in any way send back Simon Ekpa, who happens to be the citizen of the European nation, where, of course, Finland is part of this. He's a Finnish citizen, and there is no way the Finnish government can jeopardize the life and the interests of their citizens, especially when it borders on issues of rule of law and compliance to the fundamental rights of the people, of humans. Haven't seen Nigeria in the light of these current statistics or certified statistics published. It is very difficult for Nigerian government and the military to argue their case. There have been alleged violations against the military, of which the Chief of Defense Staff and the Attorney General of the Federation was worried over the prolonged investigations against the military over the purported violations to fundamental human rights and forceful disappearances. So there are many people whose case has not been well defined, and that discredits the Nigerian chances of winning the war against Mazi Simon Ekpa. Mazi Simon Ekpa has defeated Nigeria as far as this case is concerned, because it's a lost battle. Why? Because the European law or European court must ascertain the rates or the state of human rights compliance and the rule of law. You see, can you ascertain or confidently convince the European countries or European court that Nigeria adheres and complies to the rule of law? Well, they are there to argue their case, but the information or whatever they needed to know is before the public domain. So Simon Ekpa and his legal team will catch on this. And of course, we frustrate and strangulate any move, attempt, or argument in that regard, that he cannot be pre-exposed to a country or a society where there is gross violation of fundamental human rights and non-compliance to the rule of law. Just as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case, there have been court ruling and injunction, a consistent injunction by the appellate court of law that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released, having been acquitted and discharged, and yet he's been held based on whatever they claim to be political reasons. Well, the truth is that the European courts and the European nations understand the place and position of Nigeria when it has to do with the rule of law and the compliance to the fundamental right of the people. Can that be protected? Of course, it's quite unfortunate, as we are seeing gross abuse of the fundamental right of the citizens. It's very disturbing, and this is a sense of worry for anyone concerned. So with this development, you understand that it's a lost battle for Nigeria, the rendition or the extradition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, despite whatever position Finland might hold, trying to bargain with the Nigerian government. Of course, that is a dead end, because it cannot work. It cannot work because the Finnish authorities and the Finnish law cannot be compromised just for political gains, and the rule of law must be strictly adhered when they finally gets to court. And Simon Ekpa is warming, very much ready, of course, to give the deadliest blow litigations that will dismantle the Nigerian argument against him, and eventually he will walk out free, as been speculated in no distant time.
He wants other people to stay and die, when there is opportunity for them to stay outside and fight, a good fight for others. You know, these are the kind of people that actually role model to many gullible Nigerians. I really do not want to make a comment, but sometimes, you know, I when I listen to some of you that a lot of gullible people are looking up to. Of course, I am deep into the struggle for the freedom of Biafra people. So, and I know Nigeria very well. You know, I know Nigeria very well, and I know how they have impacted your brain. You know, how they have caged you, subjugated you to this kind of mentality that many of you so-called celebrity are displaying today. How can you come on social media to advocate that those who are fighting like yours, nobody do the same thing and expect a different result? Those who want to stay there will die like your father. And they are not supposed to be talking, supposed to learn from what happened to your father and do something differently. Don't do the same thing your father did. You're going to die for Nigeria and die for nothing. Today, many of them don't even know the impact your father made in Nigeria. Not only from your father, your grandmother. Your grandmother was a great woman. Nigeria killed her. Nothing happened. Only in the history. Your father was a great man. Nigeria killed him like a chicken in the prison. And you are there shouting for somebody else to stay in a very terrorist state like Nigeria, to die like your father, when there is opportunity for them to make impact from outside. My brother, you should go and learn from what happened to others. And if you have anything to offer, fight from outside, not from within. Nigeria is a terrorist state, and no reasonable person should sit in Nigeria and fight the way your father did. The best way to fight Nigeria is the way we are fighting it today. There are people who are in Nigeria to fight, and there are people who will be the face of the struggle. They don't necessarily have to be in Nigeria. So those who are not the face, who are behind the scene, will be in Nigeria, and the face of the struggle should be outside Nigeria, because Nigeria is a terrorist state that kills anybody that dare to speak, and your father was the victim. You should be hiding yourself in shame. Thank you.
You are trying to dodge that name Biafra. You are trying to escape from that name Biafra. How do you say that I am the spokesman of Ndigo? We are, someone is a party for Ndigo. Nnamdi Kanu is not there for Ndigo. Nnamdi Kanu is there. They humiliate him, they kidnap him, they jail him, they deny his rights for the sake of Biafra, not for the sake of Ndigo. Okay. And the chief of army staff said that he brings someone back home because of Biafra, not because of Ndigo. It's only Lagos State that are saying Ndigo, we go, Ndigo, Ndigo. Ndigo is a tribe in Biafra. We have other tribes. We have Ogoni in Biafra. We have Ishakiri. We have Ijom. We have Ishan. We have Awuchi. We have Ogoja. We have other tribes in Biafra land. Igbo are not the only tribe in Biafra land. So when you want to talk of Biafra, don't take Igbo to cover Biafra. Pardon me. Pardon my manners. Okay. Chief of Defense or Chief of Army Staff. Chief of Defense Staff. Chief of Defense Staff, which is Christopher Musa. He will say anything to retain his position. He will say anything not to be dismissed from army. He will say anything for him to have his salary. He will say anything to get a favor from his paymasters, which is Nigerian government. You understand? So for him to say there's a move on the ground, okay, thank God, he has spoken it out. There's a move on the ground. Someone beware. Biafra government in exile, beware. That there's a move now to kidnap someone. To kidnap someone, they kidnap Nnamdi Kanu. Or to arrest. Which arrest? To kidnap. They just don't know what is called arrest. What they just know is to kidnap. They kidnap Umaru Diko. They kidnap someone, Nnamdi Kanu. Nigeria is really kidnapping. If you look at their local court list, I don't know kidnapping in Nigeria, individual and collected ransom. Somebody can have had it. There's a move on the ground against you to get you before December. And you see, all this is running up and down. Uchechi, DOS, Uchechi, Dilala, Opukalo, all of them run up and down. DOS, run up and down. Denying Nnamdi Kanu bail and the judgment. All of them, you see, Senate major leader calling government to contain the excess of some money. All of them were because of December 2nd, 2024. That thing have caused Nigerians sleepless night. One Nigerians sleepless night, because they know that if that 2nd December, some money came out to make a broadcast, it will be a terrible thing to Nigeria. What effect will that have to Nigeria? It will have effect to Nigeria that Biafra have come to stand. It will have effect in Nigeria that Nigeria will never control the oil and gas of Biafra anymore. It will have effect in Nigeria that if Nigeria carry gun, that international community will come and look into it.